A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move aimed at tightening the financial screws on Russia amid its ongoing war in Ukraine, the European Commission has proposed a significant reduction of the price cap on Russian oil from $60 to $45 per barrel. This proposal, put forward by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, comes as part of a broader strategy to diminish the Kremlin's financial resources, which are heavily reliant on oil exports. The current $60 price cap was established in December 2022 by the G7 when oil prices were soaring above $100 a barrel, with the intention of limiting Russia's revenue from fossil fuels. However, as oil prices have recently dropped to a 4-year low, experts have deemed the existing cap largely ineffective. Von der Leyen emphasized the need for a more stringent cap, stating, "We need to cut this source of revenues," highlighting that oil exports account for a significant portion of the Russian government's income. The upcoming G7 summit in Canada, scheduled for June 15th to 17th, will serve as a platform for discussing this proposal, with von der Leyen expressing confidence in gaining support from G7 leaders despite potential uncertainties surrounding U.S. policy under Donald Trump. Alongside the price cap reduction, the EU is also focusing on targeting Russia's shadow fleet, a network of aging tankers that allow the Kremlin to bypass Western sanctions by exporting oil to countries like India at prices above the imposed cap. In a groundbreaking initiative, the EU plans to impose sanctions on the captain of a shadow fleet tanker, aiming to deter others from participating in this illicit trade. The proposed sanctions package, which marks the EU's 18th round of restrictions against Russia, is set to include the listing of an additional 70 shadow fleet vessels, bringing the total under sanctions to over 400. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas asserted that the sanctions have already started to impact Russia's oil exports significantly, with reports indicating a 30% decline in revenues from oil exports via the Black Sea and Baltic Sea routes following the last round of sanctions. The EU is also considering imposing restrictions on business dealings with companies involved in the Nord Stream pipelines, which have been rendered inoperable due to sabotage incidents in 2022. These measures aim to prevent any potential revival of the gas projects that connect Russia and Germany, sending a clear signal that the EU is not returning to business as usual. The latest sanctions proposals require unanimous agreement from all 27 EU member states before they can take effect. As the EU escalates its efforts to pressure Russia, von der Leyen reiterated the importance of using sanctions as a tool to encourage Moscow to engage in serious negotiations for peace. With the stakes higher than ever, the international community watches closely as the EU seeks to implement these new measures to curb Russia's war funding and push for a ceasefire in Ukraine. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.